Hey, so this is my Saw project. So in this video series, I'm going to be talking about the stereotypes of Asian Americans and how they've evolved through American history. First, I'll be talking about yellow peril and kind of the negative view of Asian Americans that we've historically faced, and then I'll be doing a segment on the model minority myth, which is more of a contemporary subject. And then if I get around to it, I'm going to do a short segment on how media in America has shaped the perception of Asian Americans and how that affects us today. But before I get started, I kind of just wanted to unpack some of my own feelings that I've had about this. First of all, I didn't know any of these things before I started this project, and now I do. I was actually pretty ignorant of this country's history of discriminations against Asian Americans, and I was only vaguely aware of the race issues that Asian Americans face today, so I didn't really feel the weight of any historic injustices like other people of color do, and I honestly thought Asians were doing fine. I also didn't feel like I was responsible for race issues because I was a person of color, and I wasn't perpetuating white supremacy or even benefiting from it. So I didn't really feel the need to think about how my own race fits into the conversation that our country is having about race. It's kind of crazy now that I think about it. Now that I do know a little bit more about my own history, I'm pretty upset. Nobody likes to feel like they're not equal, and the truth of the matter is, we're not. We cultivate this outward appearance of success, and in some ways, we're spared from the worst kinds of racial prejudice that other minority groups face. But the fact of the matter is, we're not seen as equals, and the institution of racism has been using us for a long time. I'm still not sure what I'm supposed to do now as an Asian American. I don't know what my voice is worth in the conversation about race, but I do know that I have one, and I'm a tiny little bit less ignorant than I was before. My hope is that my knowledge will make a difference. Anyways, before I get started, there's just a few more things I want to clarify. So, most of the depictions of Asians throughout the series focus on Chinese and Japanese people because those two nations have had the greatest impact on American history. The two nations are totally different, and those differences are important to understanding the history of prejudice against Asians because they have totally different histories and relationships with the United States, and a lot of times they're at odds with each other. And these are not the only kinds of Asians. There's Southeast Asians and South Asians face different issues than what I cover in this series, so this is not representative of the experience of all Asians, nor is it representative of any one group. Sometimes Asians of certain nationalities are singled out, and other times they're grouped together. But in the big picture, all Asian Americans, regardless of nationality, are considered foreigners in their own country, and that's part of the reason why these stereotypes are so fluid, because Asian Americans aren't seen as truly American. But here's the thing, I am American, and I do want to see things change in this country, not just for Asian Americans, but for all people of color. And that's where I'm at with Saw.